I'm still very blurry, and that's the whole problem. I need to have more poise, more control over the game, digging ourselves a hole. That's been the theme so far.
Wemby's spinning. You see he's throwing the ball all over the place. It's a shock to his system. There's not a single person in the world thought he would be outplaying Victor. He has outplayed Victor in both games, Ernie. That's what has been incredible.
Charles Barkley just put Victor Wembanyama on blast during a live episode of Inside the NBA, right in front of basketball fans everywhere. After Game 2 of the NBA Finals, with the Spurs trailing 0-2 and Wemby sitting at a press conference admitting he couldn't clearly follow what was happening during the game, Chuck stared into the camera and shut down all the talk about Victor Wembanyama being the automatic future of basketball. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He didn't add excuses or leave room for debate. Instead, he pointed directly at the player causing all the problems, Karl-Anthony Towns. The Knicks star many people had quietly stopped giving much respect to suddenly became the center of the conversation, and Barkley summed it all up with one sharp sentence.
Wemby's spinning. You see he's throwing the ball all over the place. It's a shock to his system. He's too young to understand, I got over it. But right now, he's turning the ball over. He is so flustered right now. And listen, we can say what we want to. He's 22. He's going to own the league soon. But right now, he's being owned. Our big cat is just taking his ass to the woodshed, plain and simple.
This wasn't some wild hot take or a podcast clip made for clicks. It happened this week on national television, while basketball fans across the internet were refreshing pages and reacting in real time. And the crazy part is that Wemby had already backed up Chuck's point before Barkley even used the word woodshed. The #1 pick, the face of the franchise. The young star many around the league had already labeled as the future. Just 20 minutes after the final buzzer, he stood in front of reporters and admitted the game looked blurry to him, saying he felt like he was stuck in a hole and couldn't figure out how to get out of it. Then Charles Barkley stepped in from behind the desk and turned up the pressure even more. We're talking about an 11-time All-Star, a former NBA MVP, one of the 50 greatest players ever, and a guy who has spent more than 2 decades behind that TNT desk. Chuck has watched and broken down nearly every great big man of the modern era: Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Yao Ming, Dirk Nowitzki, Nikola Jokic, and plenty more. But the reason his voice carries so much weight is simple. He doesn't go after young stars just for headlines. He built his reputation on knowing exactly when to speak and exactly when to stay quiet. He chooses his moments carefully, and when he decides to unload, he doesn't hold back because he knows those clips stay online forever. So when one of the most respected voices in basketball spent the night after Game 2 telling viewers that Karl-Anthony Towns was taking Victor Wembanyama to the woodshed, people didn't treat it like entertainment. That sounded like a public ruling from an analyst whose opinion spread faster than news around the league itself. Within an hour, the clip had exploded across basketball pages everywhere. Less than half a day later, it had become one of the biggest headlines in the sport. And then Wemby walked into that press conference and said things that only made the conversation even louder. After Game 2, with the Spurs down 0-2 on their home floor, cameras caught the roughest body language of Wembanyama's young career. The frustration was impossible to miss. Then the microphones came on.
I'm still very blurry, and that's the whole problem. I need to have more poise, more control over the game, digging ourselves a hole. That's been the theme so far.
Blurry! That was the word. The face of the franchise, the #1 pick, the player many had already crowned as basketball's next superstar, and the word he reached for was blurry. It felt like a young player searching for answers while trying to process everything happening around him. And Shaquille O'Neal, a 4-time NBA champion and 3-time Finals MVP, didn't waste any time giving his opinion.
As a leader, you should probably say, it's on me, but don't say things are blurry. If I'm anybody on the New York Knicks, I'm coming at his head on Monday. I don't even know what it means, but it sounds like he's, like Chuck said, like he's flustered. And you can't be flustered at this. I know you're down 0-2, but listen, as that guy on that team, you just got to step up.
The Hall of Fame Center went on live television and encouraged the New York Knicks to keep putting pressure directly on Victor Wembanyama in Game 3. Not just the Spurs as a whole, Wemby himself. Because the young star had just openly admitted to the world that things weren't looking clear to him. What made the entire broadcast hit so hard wasn't even the comments being made. It was the footage playing underneath those conversations that kept telling the same story again and again. The cameras showed Wemby slumped over on the bench during timeouts, a towel hanging low as he stared at the floor for long stretches. There were frustrated reactions after whistles didn't go his way, small hand gestures that showed how badly he wanted things to turn around. There were slow walks back to the huddle with his shoulders hanging low, and moments where the connection with teammates just didn't seem fully there. Every shot from the cameras painted the picture of a player dealing with one of the toughest nights of his career, and everybody watching could see it. And every time the cameras switched back to the action, Karl-Anthony Towns was right there waiting for Victor Wembanyama on the other end. And what made it even tougher to watch? This was happening in San Antonio, inside the Frostbank Center, right in front of the home crowd. The Spurs dropped both finals games on their own court, and Wemby's fans had to sit there and watch their young star walk around with his head down. That atmosphere was heavy, and everybody in the building could feel it. So when Charles Barkley went on Inside the NBA and said Wemby looked staggered, that he was getting hit with challenge after challenge, and that he couldn't clearly read the game, the crew wasn't creating a new story. They were reacting to what viewers had already been watching all night. But here's the part that didn't get enough attention. What exactly is Karl-Anthony Towns doing to create so many problems for Wemby? Start with the numbers. In Game 1, when Towns was the primary defender, Wembanyama shot just 2 for 11, 2 baskets and 9 misses. The reigning Defensive Player of the Year struggled against a player many critics had quietly stopped treating like a top superstar. Then came Game 2, and Cat delivered again. He finished with 21 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists, while knocking down 8 shots on just 12 attempts. He also connected on 3 of 5 shots from deep, all while taking on one of the toughest assignments in basketball. This wasn't random luck. This looked like a chess match, and Towns kept staying one move ahead. Look at the spacing. Cat keeps pulling Wemby away from the basket possession after possession. One of the most dangerous rim protectors in the league suddenly finds himself defending near the three-point line. Every time Wemby steps out, driving lanes open up. Every time he stays back, Towns has room to shoot. That's not just a matchup. That's pressure coming from every angle. Now look at the pick-and-roll game. Towns sets screens near the top and forces difficult decisions. If Wemby switches onto the guard, Cat slides out to the perimeter. If Wemby stays near the paint, Towns gets a clean look. If he steps up to contest, the Knicks ball handler attacks with open space. Possession after possession, there doesn't seem to be an easy answer. Wembanyama is being asked to solve one of the hardest puzzles in basketball right now. Then there's the post-game. Cat isn't trying to create flashy moments or chase viral highlights. He's using strength, positioning, and experience. He's relying on shoulders, footwork, and veteran tricks developed over years in the league. Wemby stands 7'4", but Towns has consistently been able to create space and establish position against him. And look at the patience. Towns isn't rushing shots when help defenders arrive. He waits, reads the floor, and finds the open man. He's thinking 2 steps ahead while defenses scramble to react. Meanwhile, Wemby is still trying to adjust to everything being thrown at him. Even on rebounds, Cat keeps getting to key spots first, taking away opportunities that usually belong to the tallest player on the court. What's wild is that there haven't been huge poster dunks or one giant clip dominating social media. Instead, this has been a slow and calculated performance from a veteran who seems to have discovered exactly what his team needs from him. That's what the Inside the NBA crew was reacting to, and that's what made the bigger picture even more surprising. Because Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't supposed to be in this position. Not like this. Not as the main guy, not as the player leading finals MVP conversations. For years, Towns carried labels he never wanted. Critics called him soft, others questioned his defense. Some claimed he put up regular season numbers but disappeared when the games mattered most. When the Knicks traded for him, plenty of people reacted with doubt and said, New York paid too much. For years, social media clips and jokes followed him everywhere. People questioned whether he could truly lead a contender. But now it's June, and every one of those old opinions is being tested under the brightest lights in basketball. Every harsh tweet. Every, we already had a center joke. Every, he can't be the best player on a contender debate. Everything is being judged in real time on the biggest stage in the sport, with the loudest voices in basketball talking about it night after night. And after Game 2, it sounded like the verdict had finally arrived.
The MVP of the finals is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. He has played 2 of the best games I've ever seen a big man play. He was great in Game 1. He was great in Game 2. That man earned his flowers.
That wasn't a prediction. That sounded like a coronation, and we're only 2 games into the finals. Charles Barkley has been watching championship basketball since the days of Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. He watched Hakeem Olajuwon dominate. He saw Shaquille O'Neal complete a three-peat. He watched Tim Duncan quietly build a dynasty with 5 championships. And now, after 2 games, Barkley is saying Karl Anthony Towns has delivered 2 of the best performances from a big man that he has ever witnessed. Then came the statement that really got everybody talking. Not one person expected this. Not the analysts across every network. Not the Spurs fans inside the Frostbank Center who believed Wemby would punish every defender switched onto him. Not even some of the people sitting at that inside the NBA desk before the series began.
There's not a single person in the world thought he would be outplaying Victor. He has outplayed Victor in both games, Ernie. That's what has been incredible.
Instead, Cat has completely flipped expectations upside down, while the player many believed would dominate the matchup has struggled to fully take control. That was the point Barkley kept hammering home. Then the conversation at the desk took another turn. Ernie Johnson, usually the calmest voice in sports television, asked Chuck a simple question.
Playing with energy, that's all I'm saying. He's in shock right now. Is he playing with energy, yes or no? He's in shock. Chuck, is he playing with energy, yes or no? I'm not going to question the kid's energy. I'm just saying, Karl is punching him right now, and he's staggered.
But the language Barkley used, words like punching and staggered, sounded more like fight talk than basketball talk. Those aren't the kinds of words you use for someone simply having an off night. Those are the words people use when they believe one player has clearly taken command of a matchup. But Shaquille O'Neal saw things a little differently, and that's where the debate became even more interesting.
Shaq, you always try to act like everybody's got your personality. He doesn't have your personality. The man played with energy before. Yes, he played with energy. The man had 40 in the game.
Because Wembanyama wasn't invisible in Game 2. He played 40 of the possible 48 minutes. He scored 29 points, grabbed 9 rebounds, and blocked 4 shots. On paper, those numbers look impressive, but championships are often decided by a few moments, and that's where things became painful. With less than a minute remaining and the Spurs trailing by 1, Wemby secured a rebound and quickly looked to start the break. But the pass went the wrong way, leading to a turnover that gave New York another opportunity. Jalen Brunson took advantage, drew a foul, and put the Knicks back in front. Then came one more chance. As the clock wound down, Wembanyama got a clean look from around 20 feet with an opportunity to win the game. He missed. That's why Barkley said what he said. Not because Wemby failed to compete, not because he didn't put up numbers, but because the biggest possessions, the moments that often decide championships, ended up belonging to somebody else. A player can spend 40 minutes on the floor and still leave the lasting memories to the other side. Now Game 3 is here, and the pressure is getting even bigger. Falling behind 0-3 isn't just another loss. It creates questions that follow players for months, and if Karl Anthony Towns continues playing the way he has through the first 2 games, this series could become one of the biggest stories attached to Wembanyama heading into next season. The highlights, the blocks, the ball handling, the incredible talent, all of it could suddenly come with a new conversation attached. Can Wemby respond? Absolutely. He's only 22 years old, and stars have bounced back from tough moments before. But if this trend continues, he may spend a lot more time answering questions than building the next chapter of his legacy. Meanwhile, Karl Anthony Towns sits just 2 wins away from capturing a Finals MVP that almost nobody saw coming. Seriously, hardly anyone had this on their bingo card. Now it's your turn. Do you think Karl Anthony Towns is about to lock up Finals MVP? Hit that like button and show some love. Or do you believe Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs can steal one in Madison Square Garden and turn this thing around? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and share this video with other basketball fans, because every Inside the NBA reaction and every finals moment is only making this story crazier. Game 3 could decide whether we're watching a real series or the start of something much bigger. See you in the next one.